the biggest twin-shelled creatures that have ever lived. Growing up to 1.5 meters across, they lounge placidly on the reef bed. A quiet gurgle is the only sign that these are in fact living animals, pulsing inside their armour.
Giant clams. They're one of nature's most complex and astonishing creatures. They're animals, but they have the ability to photosynthesize just like plants. This little beauty's 3 years old. He's big enough and tough enough to be safe from most of his predators, except the most dangerous one, us.
Widespread poaching in the South Pacific has devastated the clam population. At least 2 of the 8 species are now completely gone. It's more than a loss of marine biodiversity, it's a loss of a traditional food for Pacific Island families.
Wagambauta na Kongo sa siyang sarangani kunik na wagaliwe iya sa kim dula ko mga nuen chukumaya sa kim kunanga baka lalai sa tolu seva nakalilip.
There are no roads to bring you to Kalani's village. Instead, a 2-hour boat trip through the mangroves. Kiuva village is on the main Fijian island of Viti-Levu. It's a community where Fijian culture is very alive. A bowl of kava is still the traditional welcome. The clams were also a tradition, but these children have never seen them. As the memories dwindle, so do the food supplies. But Australian scientists have found a way to turn the naked reefs into underwater pastures, filled with hundreds of thousands of clams. Enough to feed the village and more, a food source which will never run out. Giant clams are very good at sex. Their great talent is the ability to produce up to 1 billion offspring in a single spawning. But it's a tough life. If baby clams were humans, they'd have a better chance of winning lotto than surviving on the open sea. Of the billions born, maybe only 1 or 2 will survive to be adults. Here at Orpheus Island in far north Queensland, Dr. John Lucas and his team from James Cook University have spent 5 years pursuing an answer to the clam crisis, trying to find ways to captively breed and rear large numbers of giant clams. Supported by Australian foreign aid, they set out to develop a simple and effective clam farming technology, which could be transferred to the Pacific where it was needed most. The experiments have been so successful, it's no longer a case of saving the clams from extinction. It's now an entirely new industry.
Had babies produced from that one before.
That's right, yeah, that's been a good one for us. Yeah, very well.
What we're doing in the South Pacific is very different. Instead of just fishing the reefs, we're now talking about farming the reefs. And this is a very radical new way. It involves taking an attitude to farming on land and taking it into the sea and saying, here, you farm your marine resources, and that is a way of getting food from the sea while leaving the natural populations to get on with their own business.
This nursery on Fiji's Makagai Island is just one of half a dozen already set up. Tanks full of homegrown baby clams, all capable of prolific parenthood. The eggs of captive breeding clams are taken and then nursed through the most dangerous phase of early life. Even with care, less than 1% will survive, but that's tens of thousands more than in the wild.
You get some idea of how vulnerable these animals are when you look at something this small. This baby clam has been growing for 3 months, but it's a very slow process. It's still tiny and exposed. In the wild, it would have to survive for another 2 or 3 years and hundreds of threats before it would be out of the danger zone. That's what these tanks are for, to give it a safe place to grow up.
What looks like sand in the bottom of this tank is actually a field of growing baby clams. The floats are tied to the divers to stop their feet from accidentally scraping the bottom and crushing a few thousand babies. The divers are cleaning lethal algae from the young clams before it blocks their sunlight and stops their growth.
This is the method that we find it here most suitable to us in Makungai. In other places, they will have to dry up and clean up the whole tank. We don't want to do that. We don't want to disturb the little ones that are already attached at the bottom of the tanks.
Soon they're transplanted into the sea, but their minders take no chances. The precious shellfish grow in protective cages.
Heavy!
In Australia, we can already see the results.
This clam's about 6 to 7 years old. It's one that is in this area. We have about 14,000 in this area that extends all the way along here, inshore there, past Reef, behind there, over there. We've just got great heaps of these fields of clams, and they're getting to the point you can barely walk between them.
In just 7 years, they've produced about 70 tonnes of giant clam meat per hectare. That's about 10 times more meat than we get from our best cattle on our best pastures. The men of Kiuva have been given a precious gift. Some of the first young clams grown in the Fiji nursery. They handle the clams like jewels, lovingly replanting them back on the barren reefs. It's a chance to turn back the clock and defy extinction.